Right, there's something I have to do. I wrongly predicted Bristol City to lose when they won. So I thought since I brought the topic up in a couple of videos ago, I'm going to make my promise and decide that on camera. I could be about to regret this decision. So nervous, man. Come on. Right, come on. Let's continue with the video on this. Gosh, I'm crying. Let's continue on with the video, I guess. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We had a very dramatic weekend of Championship football. We had a lot of last-minute winning goals. There were some really controversial decisions made in the game as well. There are also some midweek games, which I'll be predicting later on. Instantly regretting my decision. Anyway, in terms of my score predictions, I only got one correct, and that was the Blackburn and Derby game, which I predicted as a 1-0 home victory. Also, in terms of Alexa's Hall of Fame, well done to Mysk Snipez, I think that's how you say your name, for predicting Bristol City to win by 2-1. That cider was for you and for Joshua Jones. Oh gosh, I am so regretting this. Without any further ado, before I actually get tipsy, let's go on and crack on with these weekend's games and discuss what we've learned. So the first game between Millwall and Nottingham Forest ended as a 2-2 draw. A game where I expected it to be close, and Millwall did start very, very well in this game. Shaun Williams managed to get the first goal in his 250th appearance, so congratulations to him. He made a brilliant header from a corner. Nottingham Forest couldn't really get into the game until Namucci managed to bring on Grabban in the second half. Within a minute, he got Nottingham Forest back into the game with a simple header to make it 1-1. Millwall then continued to pile the pressure on Forest, with Cooper being denied by a fantastic save by Bryce Samba. And Bradshaw probably should have got a penalty from Amiobi, however it wasn't given. Personally, I think it should have been a penalty. Within minutes, Grabban put Forest ahead, who did just about enough to poke the ball through Bilkowski. You'd have thought that the game was done and dusted and Forest were going to win, and I was going to get this score prediction correctly. However, Williams had a punt from about 25 to 30 yards out. It went straight at Samba, who spilled it to O'Brien, who managed to equalise. Millwall showed great character, I thought, to get back into the game, and they didn't deserve to lose as well. I thought Millwall were absolutely terrific. Forest may be disappointed that they threw that lead away, but they need to get back into winning ways soon if they need to continue with the race of being promoted. The West Yorkshire derby ended as a 2-0 away victory for the away side. Huddersfield, to be fair to them, they did have a couple of chances. Mounier was brought back into the squad for the first time since Huddersfield were battered 5-0 by Liverpool, and he forced a great save from Casilla in the first half. Colin Grant also missed the practically open net after Casilla was really far off his line. Leeds did have one big chance in the first half where Click managed to hit the post. Afterwards, Huddersfield just couldn't convert their chances, and it eventually came back to bite them. Alioski scoring a brilliant volley from outside the box, and that made it 1-0 to Leeds. Bamford had a good chance after Harrison had a brilliant cross. He had a powerful header which was saved by Grabara. However, Leeds managed to wrap up the game after a brilliant cross from Harrison again, who this time he met Pablo Hernandez, who scored his first goal since August. Huddersfield may be disappointed they didn't get anything out of it. I think Casilla had his best game in the Leeds shirt, in my opinion. And Leeds managed to keep another clean sheet and to win by a 2-goal margin. If this continues, I can see Leeds getting promoted, believe it or not. So Middlesbrough and Charlton ended as a 1-0 home victory to the home side, and Middlesbrough got the game finished practically in the first minute with George Saville getting the goal. It was poor defensively from Charlton. They couldn't clear a long ball, and Phillips spilled the ball to Saville, who just barely poked the ball through the net. Middlesbrough definitely did have chances to score again. Tavernier nearly scored one, and it was a game overall that both sides just struggled to be clinical. Charlton overall were very poor, and Middlesbrough could have scored 3 and 4 if they took their chances. Charlton have not won in 8 games now, and they need to start winning games as soon as they can before they sleepwalk into the relegation zone. This was a good win for Middlesbrough. It gives them a little bit of breathing space, but they need to keep winning to try and extend that gap. Hull managed to get back into winning ways by beating Stoke by 2-1. But it was Stoke who had the best start. Sam Vokes managed to head across from James McLean. Poor defending on Hull, and no one was marking him at all, and that got Stoke ahead. But since going behind, Hull were absolutely terrific. They forced Jack Butland into quite a few saves. Irvine had a really good opportunity. Bowen had a good opportunity in the first half as well. Eventually, Hull managed to continue where they left off. And from a moment of top quality by Bowen, he managed to get Hull level by shooting from outside the box. Hull then went ahead with a great inviting cross from Lehigh, which met Jackson Irvine, who forced a great save from Butland, but then it went straight at Bowen, and he was in the right place in the right time. 2 yards out, he simply smashed it home. This is Stoke's third defeat in a row, and it does leave him in a precarious position. Michael O'Neill may have started losing the managerial bounce he had with the side. Hull did well to win, but they need to consistently win if they want a chance to get into the playoffs, because I believe they can do so with the championship being very wide open. Reading and Birmingham was a very enthralling game, ending as a 3-2 away victory for the visitors. And I say, especially for the second half performance, Birmingham did deserve this. Birmingham went ahead in fortunate circumstances, where some great play by Bellingham caused Michael Mawson to panic, and trying to win the ball back, it somehow went past Cabral. I couldn't really explain that first goal, unfortunately. Reading equalised very quickly from a corner, which met Yaku Mate. Oh dear gosh. Birmingham's second goal was terrific though. Bella managed to score a technically beautiful free kick. It was absolutely sublime for Bella. He nearly did the same thing again, but Cabral managed to save it for the second time. In the end, Jimenez made it 3-1. Pretty poor defending on Reading's part. He shot the ball, which was blocked, but he did well to win it back and slot it past Cabral. Reading made it a nervy finish, with Lucas Jaum getting a slight touch to get it past Truman. Very poor defending by Birmingham, who didn't manage to pick him out. But it was a very entertaining game. Both sides hit the post, and a very classic championship game, I felt. Reading do need to be a bit careful, as they're only 5 points above the relegation zone. With Birmingham, they're only 4 points off the playoffs, and Birmingham will be very satisfied with the results since they were winless in 5. They've now broken that curse, and they can shift the momentum, and potentially they could try and fight for playoffs. Another game that ended 3-2 was at the Cardiff City Stadium. Barnsley went ahead through Connor Chaplin, which was very well played by Bear, which allowed Chaplin to run in between the two centre-backs. Pretty poor that Cardiff allowed that to happen, and he managed to slot it past Etheridge. Cardiff then scored 3 minutes later. It turned out to be a Diaby own goal, which I didn't think it was at first, but apparently that's what it was. Later on in the second half, Barnsley managed to go ahead, this time with a Peltier own goal. Very unfortunate how the goal came about, but at this point, Barnsley were at the driving seat for getting 2 wins in a row. However, each time Cardiff went forward, the youngsters panicked and they were all out of position, and no one managed to spot Ward, who had the simplest of tasks to loop the ball over Radlinger. And in the 94th minute of the game, Tomlin managed to get the winner by scoring a brilliant volley. It was heartbreaking for Barnsley. I did feel sorry for them because they did compete with Cardiff a lot in that game, and winning away from home for Barnsley must have been really, really difficult for them. But the strong run under Neil Harris just continues, and they're now only 1 point outside of the playoffs. What a turnaround this has been. And to the game that's made me a little bit tipsy, Bristol City continued their strong record against Fulham, getting a 2-1 away victory. It was a brilliant game, and Josh Brownhill was the centre of it. He made things happen for Bristol City, and has been a very important player for them this season. He managed to score the first goal with the powerful header past Rodak. Mitrovic did not have his best game. He was left pretty quiet and he was left frustrated. Bristol City's second was a brilliant team goal. Nagy backheel to Eliasson, straight at Jeju for a simple tap-in. What a goal it was. And Fulham pressed City in the final 10 minutes to try and get something. They managed to get 1 goal from Camara with an unstoppable shot past Bentley. Now the main talking point from this game, which was the most controversial moment, should Fulham have had a penalty in stoppage time? In my opinion, yes. I cannot believe it wasn't a penalty. And if they drew, I might not have been able to drink that cider, but it's just how it is. And Cabalu managed to hit the bar. Bristol City, to be fair to them, managed to hold on, and they managed to get 3 points. Fulham's 4-match win streak ended, and now both sides are tied on points and are firmly in the playoffs, so a really good position for both of these sides. And now to the one game I correctly predicted. Blackburn managed to get a 1-0 home victory against Derby. It was a fantastic performance by Blackburn, who played like winning was the only option, if you know what I mean, and they didn't give Derby too many opportunities. Armstrong has scored quite a few crackers so far this season, and this weekend was no exception. Fantastically taken on his own and no chance for Roos to save it. Top corner, brilliant. And Blackburn have won 4 games in a row and now are only 2 points off the playoffs, which is extraordinary. Derby are in right slap of the middle between relegation and playoffs. They are winless in 3 games and they need to try and pick up a bit of momentum, in my opinion, if they want to try and get the promotion. What a win this can be for Luton Town. They dispatched Wigan by 2-1. They left it late, but Luton end this weekend with the 3 points. Wigan got the first goal pretty much against the run of play because Luton were really good in the opening stages of the game. A great cross by Sterling after making a goal line clearance in one end, provided an assist for the other end to Kiefer Moore with a brilliant header. To be fair to Luton, they kept their heads up and kept going, and eventually they got what they deserved. A somewhat comedic goal by McManaman, who missed his first shot completely, but eventually got a tame effort past Jones. Dunkley was then sent off by pulling back Collins, denying a goal-scoring opportunity. This Luton pressure then got the winner from Moncur, who managed to smash home after a cross was failed to be cleared by the Wigan defence. A fantastic win for Luton. They've now got a little bit of breathing space from the relegation zone. It could be a huge blow for Wigan. They are now still in the bottom 3, and the fact that Luton and Middlesbrough have won this weekend, it's not looking good for Wigan at the moment. They need to try and pick up some wins and quickly. QPR managed to get their first clean sheet of the season by piling misery on promotion envy Preston North End. It was a perfect performance by Eberici Eze, who got Queen's Park Rangers to lead. Poor defending on Preston's part. One long ball cut through the whole defence and left Eze with a free shot. It was well saved by Rod, but he parried it straight back at him and he finished the job. Preston then dominated possession, I thought, and tried to craft out a few chances. They were more or less half chances. But then Queen's Park Rangers piled the pressure back on Preston, and in the second half, Rod had to bring down Pugh, which caused Queen's Park Rangers to have a penalty. Eze calmly slotted it past Rudd. It was disappointing for Preston overall, who did not have a lot of attacking threat in this game and have now lost 4 games in a row, which is relegation form in my opinion. Queen's Park Rangers have kept their first clean sheet, and this change of momentum is what Queen's Park Rangers might need to try and climb up the table in my opinion. And a very tight game happened at Hillsborough, with Sheffield Wednesday managing to squeeze a 2-1 home victory. Brentford started well and managed to score from a header from Mbumbio following a corner. But in the second half, that was when Sheffield Wednesday took over. They entered the game and were all awarded a penalty after the ball was handled in the box. Fletcher managed to slot it in a right-hand corner, and the momentum quickly shifted to be Sheffield Wednesday's game to lose. A great ball by Kadeem Harris found Fletcher to do a 90-degree turn and slot the ball home. Overall, a great game against 2 great sides. Brentford are only 2 points off the playoffs. With Sheffield Wednesday, they've now overtaken Preston and have entered the playoffs. So, a great weekend for Sheffield Wednesday, not a disastrous weekend for Brentford. They can always try again to get into the playoffs, and I don't think that they should feel hard done by. Finally, West Brom absolutely dismantled Swansea City by 5-1. When I made my prediction, I meant the half-time. To be fair, I got it wrong. I didn't manage to watch the game because I did a fun run for charity, but for what I did see, Ajayi put West Brom 1-0 up from a header. Then it was Pereira who managed to make it 2-0 with him having enough space in the box to poke it past Woodman. Swansea thought they got back into it. A bit of a scrappy goal, a bit of a comedic goal with Surridge trying to shoot and it couldn't quite poke through, and he just about did enough to get through the net. Then Hal Robson-Kanu managed to make it 3-1 before half-time. Really good goal from him and burst through a lot of pace going forward. After half-time, Swansea tried to change a few things by changing formation. They tried a 4-2-3-1 this time, but it made no difference because West Brom also did a formation change since Swansea were resisting. Then 2 more goals came flying in from Matt Phillips. That one I did manage to see live. He managed to head it, and what really concerned me with the final 2 goals that West Brom scored, the amount of space that they had was almost really scary. Another stat for you, West Brom has scored the most goals from substitutions, meaning that Slaven Bilic knows the strengths of his squad and he knows how to deal with situations. So West Brom clearly playing like they want to be promoted, That's why they're now back in the top of the championship. With Swansea, their form is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. This is their first defeat away from home as well. They're going to need to have a big game to recover from this. So to conclude, my goal of the weekend is really tough. I'm going to give it to Bella of Reading for his free kick goal. It was absolutely terrific. I was very close for giving it to Alioski, but I'm just going to edge Bella for position and for how accurate it was. Cabral could not have saved it. It was absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to give my goal of the weekend to Bella. My result of the weekend, this one. I'm going to give my result of the weekend to West Brom 5, Swansea 1. An unbelievable performance by West Brom against a really tough Swansea side. So that'll be my result of the weekend. My player of the weekend is really, really difficult. I'm going to give it to Jarrod Bowen because he can change the game and he can change the momentum for Hull. Without him, Hull would not have beaten Stoke. I'm going to give my player of the weekend to Jarrod Bowen. Right, now we have some midweek fixtures to go through. So we start off with Bristol City and Millwall. I think Bristol City are going to have a lot of quality in Ashton Gate. Millwall could pose a threat, but I think it's going to be a 3-1 home victory to Bristol City. Charlton and Huddersfield. Ooh, Huddersfield are not on a great run of form, and neither are Charlton, so this could end as a 0-0 draw. But I'm going to edge Huddersfield. I have an instinct that they're going to want the game more. Leeds and Hull is going to be very, very close. Hull, you just don't know what you're going to get. Leeds are in great form. I think Hull do have the capability of scoring against Leeds, but I think Leeds will just about have enough and get a 2-1 home victory. Nottingham Forest and Middlesbrough is going to be really, really tight, but I think Forest at home, I think they'll be comfortable and they'll get a 2-0 home victory. Preston and Fulham. Preston with 4 defeats in a row. Fulham obviously lost this weekend, but were in great form from that. I'm going to say that Fulham get a 2-1 away victory. I think Preston have really struggled to score goals recently, and until they can fix that, I can't see them winning any more games, and I think Fulham would take advantage of it. Stoke and Luton. This is a really interesting game down the bottom of the table. For me, Stoke need a response. They've lost 3 games in a row. Luton, what they tend to do, they have a fantastic win, but then they drop in the next game. They're quite inconsistent, and away from home, they've not been great either. Only 1 win away from home all season. I'm going to predict Stoke getting a 2-0 home victory against Luton. Barnsley and Reading. Now, Barnsley could pose a threat at home. They actually have had great performances at home. It's just whether how much are they going to concede. Reading weren't great this weekend either, so they could run riot, but for me, I think they'll cancel each other out again, 1-1 draw. Birmingham against Queen's Park Rangers will be tight, but I think I've undermined Birmingham a little bit. I think I've undermined a few of their results recently, so I think I'm going to give them a 2-1 home victory this time. They had a great performance against Reading, and I think they'll continue it at St Andrews. Brentford and Cardiff. Now, for me, I see plenty of goals in that game, and I'm going to predict that Brentford will edge it by 3-2. This could be a really, really tight game, but I think it'll be entertaining. Derby and Sheffield Wednesday. At Pride Park, Derby are okay. Sheffield Wednesday are a really good side, though. I might say this will be a 1-1 draw. Swansea and Blackburn. That's interesting. At the Liberty, Swansea have not had great results there. Blackburn are on a great run of form. Blackburn could get an away victory, but I think in terms of quality, I think this will be a 2-2 draw. And Wigan and West Brom, it could be a banana skin game for West Brom, but for me, I think West Brom will be comfortable and get a 2-0 away victory. But that wraps up all the games this weekend. What did you make of your team's performance in the weekend? Let me know in the comments down below. Once again, congratulations to Mysk Snipez for getting the correct score prediction. You've got a shout out and you've entered the Lexus Hall of Fame. If you want to have a chance for entering the Lexus Hall of Fame and getting another shout out, simply predict one of the midweek games in the comments down below. What did you make of your team's performance? Let me know in the comments down below. That will wrap it up for today's video. If you guys like what you see and you want to keep seeing this series and me doing championship stuff, please make sure you do give the video a like. Make sure you share the channel to any championship fan, and make sure you do subscribe if you haven't already. All of that will be fantastically appreciated. Uni work is nearly done. That's why I've not been uploading much, and I can only apologise for it. When it's done, I'll be back at my best. But that will wrap it up for today's video. I'm stuttering over my words here. I need to end the video quickly. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care.